So let's go to the last section, which is our settings. General settings are pretty straightforward. You have your site title and tagline, which might or might not be displayed on the home page, or they might be set up as the title tag in your header. You can set up some of the system defaults here, but you can kind of look through that and see what's there. It's not anything that's too important to discuss in detail. The reading settings are important. That's where you're going to set up what the front page displays pretty much. So the front page on a blog might just display your most recent post, in which case this setting is correct. But on informational sites or brochure type sites, it's usually going to be a page that you've created called home, or an about page or something like that. So then you would choose a static page and make your front page home, which we don't have built here. And the posts page would be something like blog or whatever you set to be specifically your blog, if you even have one. If you don't have one, it doesn't make any difference.
Right, and then again, after that, you're getting into stuff that the customer is going to have to use themselves, like how many posts do they want the page to show, and just different stuff like that. So the rest of this stuff is more going to be on the user side than on the developer side.
Yep, so let's go through two more things. The media settings you're not going to get into right away, but there are some situations where you need to. Let's back up here. When you upload a new picture, you upload a new picture into the WordPress media library, and it's 2,000 by 2,000 pixels wide. It's huge. WordPress automatically generates 3 different sizes aside from the full size one. It generates a large image for you, a medium image, and a thumbnail image. And when you know how to use WordPress coding a little bit, you can use that. So instead of on the site loading this massive, 2 megabyte picture every time, it actually pulls a separate picture that's the same one, but it's just smaller. And that will really help your loading time using those options. So you can customize these a little bit to where the default medium, so when you set a post as medium, the default might be 700 pixels by the max height would be 700 and the max width would be 700. The proportions will stay the same. It'll be the normal proportions, but this is something you can get into when you're doing more customized themes. Just know that this is an option available to you in the settings area. Nothing you'd want to get into right away.
Yeah, again, now we're going on to permalinks, and basically we can choose our different settings here. There's the default settings, which is going to kind of bring you to something a little bit arbitrary. It's going to bring you to the page ID, right? If you have it set to the default. If you have it set to day and time, it's going to just bring you to a date, time, and then the post name. Month and name is going to be a month name, post name. Generally, you're going to come in here and you're going to set this to post name, because that way we have a direct hierarchy of links. Okay, my site is FPWD US Kitty. I want it to be WP or WPSD US Kitty and then post name, right? Like I want the post name to come first. I don't want any other stuff in there. So more often than not, set it to post name.
Yeah, and this helps. This is important. Anytime someone talks to you about SEO or search engine optimization, you want to have this be the primary setting, so that if somebody is targeting web design for newbies or whatever, instead of their permalink or the URL that shows up being page 123, that doesn't help them with SEO whatsoever. It needs to be listed as something that's relevant to the post they're writing. So this the post name structure allows it to, by default, set it to something that's closely related to the name of the post or page. So it's very good for SEO.
Yeah, and that way if someone comes to your site, they can type in /kitty/home, and it's actually going to bring you somewhere instead of being like, that's not page 1237.
Right, exactly. Last thing we'll discuss here, and then we'll move on to the meat and potatoes of the course. The WP Super Cache is a thing that's included on all WordPress installs now. As a developer, it's really irritating, and it can get in the way. As a customer, it's fantastic. A caching plugin basically converts your content to static HTML pages that it reads at a certain point in time, and it basically just quickens the load time. It preloads stuff. The thing that it doesn't do, though, is if you make a bunch of changes in the CSS and you're having to keep changing things to the site, or you add new elements, it might just show you on the front end the cached version, so you think the changes didn't work. So when you're developing on a website like this, turn the caching plugin off, and sometimes you might even, if it's been on and you didn't notice it, you want to go in and delete the cached pages just so that that's not affecting what you're seeing on the front end. You don't want to have to, spend hours working on code because you think it's not showing up correctly. So I'm going to turn this off.
Okay, I think that is the end of the users, tools, and settings section. We will close off here and we'll start back up with our next section.
Yep. Talk to you soon. Camtasia.